One of my MAC signature looks from 2015 would still eat today. I kind of found my personal style in around 2014 to 2015. And it was like the beginnings of this eye look. You guys loved my ultimate MAC girl look video and the history and the nostalgia and kind of like just me yapping. But like back in my MAC time, like that was like the look. Like there was something that was so, it was flawless skin. It was like elevated eyes, a lip combo, obviously. I was building my lip combos way back then as well. But you really felt like the main character every single day. If you're new here, hi, my name is Miss Megan. I've been a makeup artist for 15 years. 13 of them, I worked at MAC and I worked at the most high profile locations. So I'm no stranger to the fullness that makeup can give you. So in this video today, I'm gonna recreate one of my earlier signature looks, which still is relevant today. Maybe we'll even do the black lip. So if you wanna watch me recreate this look and also figure out how you guys can create your own signature looks, please keep on watching. I don't have any Magic Radiance in stock. Or I ran out, so I'm just gonna use regular Fix Plus. I've obviously like evolved a lot as an artist, as you do, but like there's elements when I'm looking back at these photos, I can identify when it happened and the elements that I carried through and how I perfected it. So I'm gonna bring this back with like a few updated tricks, kind of incorporating how I use my layer logic method and kind of just like upgrading it. There's like certain things like the brow that I'm like not really into anymore. So yes, there's like nostalgia elements to it, but at the end of the day, having a solid technique will never go out of style. That was just a little bit of Serumizer, and I'm also gonna put the Balm down. We're obviously gonna start with the eyes. Way too much, Megan. There was like no point to that. So oh my God, okay, the moisturizer. I need to get Silky Radiance Primer again. I removed it from my routine because I ran out and I'm like, just use what you have. But like when you remove something and you have your benchmark brands that I always talk about, you see the little things that you're like, oh no, this is core. So I need to bring that back. So the cream that I would have used back then was Mineralized Charge Water Gel and a Skin Base, which still exists today. I think that's what I was using. To start off on my eyes, I'm gonna use 24-hour eye base. This was a thing too, I couldn't even tell you like specifically where inspiration came from, because while people, well, this was from 2014 to 2015, but like when 2016 hit and the 2016 makeup happened, MAC artists were already like knee deep in learning backstage techniques. You were inspired by Fashion Week, trend videos, and designers. Like there were so many elements to where you're pulling inspiration from. And then you were amongst other artists that were interpreting things differently. So you would get their viewpoint on something. So that is where your inspiration was coming from. And then when you factor in that you were meeting strangers every single day and adapting things to them, working with people and interacting with people is actually what created inspiration, because there are so many cases where somebody would come in and they would want like a very specific shadow, and you know, I would do whatever I can to replicate it for them, or I would come up with something new that might be even better for them. And I'm like, wait a second, like I can hear myself so many times being like, I actually think I want this too. So I would like put it aside for myself and buy it later, because like what that person wanted with my scale created inspiration for me, and I'm like, I need to try this on. So I used to wear saddle eyeshadow. I don't have saddle that I can find, but this is Texture, and then these bags are Designer. So this was kind of like my crossover and like the upgrade to it. And in some cases I even use saddle wet first and then I buffed it out dry. So it would just depend on like my mood that day. I'm gonna go in with a 217. Like MAC eyeshadow looks were never just about like, yes, they were about the formula, but it was so much about the shapes that you created and what you were trying to achieve with the look itself. So I always wanted roundness to my eyes. So yes, the color was great, but the technique was even more important. Oh, I even have a little bit of like MAC memorabilia to show you too. I use memorabilia loosely. And the reason that I liked Saddle so much is it has that orangey red undertone. So against my eyes, it makes my eyes very green. So you were never, ever just blending to blend. You carved out things. Nothing was accidental when you were doing your makeup. And then when you were teaching somebody else, you know, how to get that lift, you had to hone in on certain elements, right? So that is something that I've held on to for a very long time. And it's kind of how I developed my layer logic method, because I've spent so much time articulating how to create a certain shape or look to be able to sculpt your face in the most flattering way. I think probably when I first discovered like this bit, I probably only used one color, but then when I started learning the importance of layering, the layering bit became part of my signature. I'm gonna go in with the 224, and then these bags are designer, and I'm just gonna buff out and blow out the edges. And I think too, like I incorporated Costa Riche at some point, and like one of the biggest things as well, and this is the difference between working with a professional versus like watching things online, is once I have as much information as I possibly can about like what you want, I can see the end result to be able to work backwards. I can visually see where, you know, a line needs to end or where something needs to start. That's not necessarily in this like paint by number start to finish order, but it's going to deliver the best sculpted look. Was every MAC artist made equal? Absolutely not. Every artist is going to be different. But like, I wanted to be the best. I wanted to make sure that I understood people so much. Like I wanted, if you worked with me, I wanted you to leave and be like, holy crap. Like she knew exactly what I was asking for and I didn't even have to say it. Like that was always my goal. So that when I was helping every single person that I was helping, I was trying to hone in on that like skill. That was something that I want to do for myself. So if you had the time, I had the time, because I'm like, we're going to figure this out. There were tons of occasions where I would like put something on and I'm like, can I take it off? Because like, I think I just thought of something even better. Yeah, texture's a little bit orangey. Saddle has like a little bit more brownishness to it. I'm gonna mix in, just for argument's sake, I'm gonna mix in a little bit of brown script. I'm pretty sure this is brown script. If not, it's Swiss chocolate, but I think it's brown script. I also like the fact, like you guys don't see me in these colors anymore. That is pan, baby. Oh my God, Saddle's right here. Okay. It's white because of the cast that's over top of it, because I used them wet with freckles. Guess who's starting again? Me. You guys ask me a lot too if I remember the paints. Absolutely. The MAC paints were so amazing. Bare Canvas, Sublime, Untitled, Still Life. I called it Stiffle though sometimes. Okay, let's get into it. Saddle. Yeah, more red, brown. Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm immediately yes. Yeah, it just does a little extra something, something. Yeah, if you were getting your makeup done or you were like looking for new makeup brushes, you were leaving with a 217, a 219, and a 239. However, I think that the 242 brush was superior, and it still is to this day. So then I would switch to a 224 to be able to blow this out even more. I'm still gonna take these bags are designer and just do the edges. I just love it. I would still wear this. I think, oh, so after Saddle came Uninterrupted in the Pro Longwear. So it was a mixture of those two. So like I would either interchange how I was layering them to like get a certain effect, or I would wear like one over the other. Uninterrupted, like Uninterrupted was that color. I'm like so pleased right now with this, even though I knew that. I'm gonna take it right up into my brow. I'm gonna use Costa Riche. That's what that looks like. It's also really beautiful if you have blue eyes too. I'm gonna take this on the, I guess it doesn't really matter. I'm updating this. I'm gonna do it on the inside. Now, the ideal brush for under here back in the day would have been the 219, but all of mine have black on them. So I'm just using the Nikki LaRose shader. I'm mixing my shades together. I used to go far down. Like I basically did my entire like lower lid, which is great if you have texture under the eye. And then along came the greatest invention of all time. This is Gleam This is Day Gleam Pressed Pigment. This is probably my like legitimately most loved like makeup product ever. I've tried to make my version of this with Mob Beauty, and trust me, I've seen Moon Dust, I've seen all of it. Nothing compares. I always used it wet, so I always liked making a paste. And I would just use the same 217. And I would just press it over top. And depending on like what the vibe was, it could either be less of this or more of this. It's another passive saddle. I'm gonna curl my lashes. Now I definitely, so I would have been wearing, in 2015, I'm pretty sure Zoom Lash was still around. I've been wearing Zoom Fast in Zoom Fast or whatever it was, the waterproof one. And then I would have switched over to probably in Extra Dimension or in Extreme Dimension, waterproof as well. I'm using Max Stack Elevated, which is the closest thing to Zoom in my opinion. I just need to darken this a little bit. I prefer my lids to be like entirely dark. I don't like when they're lighter. Then I'm gonna use Extended Play Mascara. And something I never cared about was if I got mascara like on the bottoms underneath. I was just like, it is what it is. It's lived in. This is so good. I'm gonna make my lash line just a little bit thicker with Costa Riche. Oh, by the way, before we move on, if you love makeup, you want to learn more about makeup, what's going wrong, kind of how to take a new approach, make sure you guys hit the link in my description and join my free school community. Feel free to join. Has tons of information over there. I highly recommend when you go in, you hit the Miss Megan rants. You can hear me speak about makeup in a way that you probably haven't heard before. Okay, so I would have used False Lash Maximizer to make my brows fluffy. So I'm going to use the Legit Lash Primer, which I actually discovered does insane brow cover for what it is. So I would just... Brows is one thing I struggled with for a really long time on other people. Like I remember my makeup interview for MAC at the end when they were like, well, okay, like what do you think of like your work? Where do you think you need to improve kind of thing? And I was like, oh, for sure the brows. Like my shaping was kind of off and I like wasn't happy with the color. So that was like always something I needed to focus on. And now I can color correct brows. I can reshape brows. And then same thing, I would have used at that time. Yeah, I think I would have used 2 colors. So I'm just gonna take Taupe through the whole brow. This one's almost finished. And then I'm gonna take Stud throughout the base. But I used to do it where like, it was almost like an ombre brow. And I loved the like, I loved how it looked. There are some MAC brows, I bet some of you can think of it, where they were very like, some of the artists had really like etched out looking brows. Like you saw the lines on purpose. I loved that. I always had too much brow hairs for that. So this was like my version of it. This brow looks very angry right here. Yeah, I need like more. Like I did always like down here. Maybe I'll switch to the 217. I'm gonna switch to the 221. I always had a lot of product right in here too. Like sometimes it didn't necessarily make sense to my eye shape, but it made sense to the structure of the shadow because I was looking for a certain shape with that. Yeah, big lift. I forgot I did this. So just had to go that little extra mile. Oh my God, yeah. Oh my God. I forgot how much I liked that. I only wore 48 lashes for a period of time. And then I moved on to 2s and 35s. And I'm gonna put on obviously 86s. I don't think that I would like 2s and 35s on myself anymore. One, because they were brown. They were like a black brown, but like more on the brown side. And I don't think so they did the like straight out and up, but I don't think that they would open the eye enough for me in the way that I want to. Like, I think they would be sitting too flat. It was such a look though. It was such a look. Oh my God, yes. I'm just using the lash applicator tool as tweezers. Oh my God. Yes. Do you see though how just pulling that out like took it there? Absolutely. Beautiful. Oh my God, I love it. Before we get into the skin, let me show you some memorabilia. I know I have more of these, but this was one of the like Halloween face charts I had done. This would have been, I don't know. I didn't write on this one. I think this was 2017. I like that I took the whole thing home. And then instead of throwing out the displayers, like if you wanted them, just got tossed. So I have so like this is where the product, like even this has like a piece of it. This is where like the backing would have been. And then you have where the product would have been sitting when the collection launched. This was one of the best collections. There was like 3 different people. Kabuki was one of them. We had 2017, James Caliardos. This is where like the Quick Trick sticks had come out. The Dazzle Shadow eyeshadow palette. This is when Dazzle Shadow Extreme launched, and this was the Alexa Demi display. So pretty. This was the 2019-2020 bronzer campaign, I think. This was like around COVID. I was obsessed with that. And then this, oh yeah, so Kabuki James and then Diane Kendall. I think this was the one that had the Dazzle Shadow palette. Maybe Nora, that was Kabuki. I don't know. I'm start off with Face Protect as my primer. MAC Skin. Everything about MAC makeup is so intentional. And it wasn't necessarily about like piling on full coverage and like just creating full glam by just like foundation, concealer, powder, blonde, brush, blush, bronzer, highlight. Like that, yes, that happened, and you might get artists that did makeup that way. But that's just not how I operated. Oh, am I doing the skin I actually had back then? A cocktail face and body and Studio Fix fluid. I'm gonna use a 109. So when I was doing, you know, when I was doing people's skin and I wanted to sculpt their skin, I was using my like layer logic method. I wasn't just saying like, oh, you want to be sculpted? Okay, let's use contour. Let's get you a new contour product. No. And like every single person's different, right? Okay, think, Megan, think. What did you do next? One of my favorite MAC products ever is the Studio Finish Concealer Palette. I also really enjoy the contour palette from Pro, the 4 shades. I cannot find mine. So I'm just gonna go in with Studio Finish Concealer. I touched on this in the other video too, like in terms of like the ultimate MAC girl look. You really were on sort of like one side. You either like very much in the matte satin category or you're in the dewy glossy category. That was me because I did not want to wear powder. Like I hated powder. I still don't love powder to this day. Okay, I think because of the oranginess of this eye, we'll go with a nude lip. Oh yeah, this, I'm gonna use Matte Deep Golden. And then I have a really great product to show you. I am so very obsessed with cream color base. Like I would love for them to come back. Something that I did use actually was Mid-Tone Sepia. So I'm gonna pick up a little bit of this. Like they still had so much like color to them. And nobody wanted them. Like I can literally see them on the like goodbyes. So one of these is Root and one of these is Dusk. I think this is Dusk. I'm gonna take a little bit in here. I don't know why I'm whispering. Okay, and then I wore this every single day. Every single day. Hush cream color base. I think I might not have even worn blush. I might have just left it like this for a really long time before I started liking, because again, I hated I hated powder that much. A little bit of bright forecast under the eye, obviously. I'm just gonna use this, my Kitco Pro brush. I would have used a 286 for this, for sure. Buff that in even more. And then go back to the Studio Finish concealer and just add a little bit of brightness. I'm gonna use blush because I need it. This is Prism. One of the most fantastic blush colors ever. I'm gonna do my nose. I don't think I ever really did product on my nose. Oh yeah, this is MAC. Love it, lock it in. What powder would I have used? Probably the Pro Longwear powder. I was such a huge fan of the Pro Longwear franchise. We'll just use Studio Fix today. My Layer Logic method was for me to be able to get like the most customized sculpted look in the fastest amount of time. That was always my goal. And obviously in turn, and I have this documented forever, but like it's what creates the longevity in all of my makeup looks for myself and on others. Yeah, I usually would have left it like this. My lip in the particular photo was Stone Lip Liner with Siss. I actually have a lip palette that has Siss in it. Let's use my Stone from 2012. Stone. At least for me, everything was strategic. So I'm not picking out, you know, lip shades for people just because I like it or I think it would look best on them. We were curating a look or curating a color or something based on undertone, contrast. Like, one of the first things I'm ever gonna ask you if I'm doing your makeup is like, what are you wearing that night? And like, what accessories do you have on? I need to know if they're gold or silver. Like, that's incredibly important to me. Like, that's like a have to know that. And yes, of course, you can wear just one liner, one lipstick. You can wear just lipstick, doesn't matter. But I can guarantee you, say it with me, I don't want a lipstick. I want a lip combo. That is what is going to create that perfect custom lip for you. Also, like, just, I mean, I've been obsessed with texture in makeup forever. Like, that, nailing a texture and understanding how texture works in makeup is such a huge part of what I do. Oh, this is so Miss Megan Core. Get out of here. I loved Siss as well. Do you guys remember the metallics, the nude metallic collection that launched on like Boxing Day in like, I guess if it was a Boxing Day launch, this would have been pre-COVID. So it was pro Queen Straight. 2016, 2017. It was when the Extra Dimension product, I think is when the Extra Dimension eyeshadows came out, and then there were like nude lipsticks that were relaunched, and Siss was one of them. Oh my God. Oh my God, it's like I forgot who I was. Oh, okay. How am I feeling right now? Let me walk you through this. How am I feeling right now? The only way I could describe it, Semi makes me emotional, is I feel at home in this look. And it's not to say I abandoned this look at all, because I love my, like, I have this for, right? Like, when you compare it to like my go-to styles now, my go-to smoky eyes, they really make me feel hot. They really make me feel, they give the intensity that I want, but there is something that is very home about this type of look on me. And it kind of like pulls on my heartstrings in a weird way, but kind of like to what I said at the beginning, the techniques and the skills that I taught myself to develop my Layer Logic method is what has allowed me to sculpt my face as like my taste and my things and everything has changed, but it still has similar vibes. And I think I had, when I compare this to like my go-to look right now, I totally forgot about how much I used to blow out over here. And it's because I do like how shine hits in this area. These are very like me specific things that create the like signature piece to my look. If you guys want to reset your makeup game and like start from scratch, you can get somewhere really, really awesome and get to a place where you're really, really happy with your makeup, you can join my free school community. So you can start understanding why things in your routine might not be working out the way that you're wanting them to. It's totally free to join, but if you're like really ready to make the commitment and you want to work with me in a group setting or one-on-one, come over to the paid school community. I will put that link in the description below. We meet multiple times a week. I have a full-blown makeup course for you guys and like content you can unlock. We do makeup giveaways. You'll actually get direct guidance and feedback from me. So all of the trial and error stuff that I've been doing for the last 15 years, I'm gonna take that pain away from you and just give you the straight answer that you can finally move in the right direction to getting that like signature style. And two, some of you may own way too much product that is sitting collecting dust that you do not know what to do with it. So stop buying makeup and come over to the Revival. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you want me to do another one of my OG Mac Girl looks, let me know in the comments below. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe and turn on post notifications so you never miss a post. Follow me on TikTok and Instagram so you keep the most up to date and don't miss out on anything that I'm doing. Join either my free or paid school community at the link in my description below. Don't be late for school, and until then, I'll see you next time. Bye.